Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. I'm Kimberly D'Souza in your company. And of course, I have with me a guest that I believe everybody will want to check in with and talk to. We have the former Minister of Agriculture, Minister Rambharat. Of course, he's no longer Minister. He's Mr. Clarence Rambharat now. So, Mr. Rambharat, thanks so much for joining us here on the Now Morning Show.
Thank you. Good morning. Very happy to be here and happy to be talking to Trinidad and Tobago. And I've always said once I exit those roles that I had, I want to quickly get rid of the former Minister of Agriculture. So people have been asking me, I'm Clarence Rambharat. That is it.
That is it?
Yeah.
No more labels. I like that. I like that.
For
but
now.
I mean, Mr. Rambharat, how have you been keeping? I mean, it's been 1 week to the date since your resignation. How have you been?
Very good. My life has not changed significantly because even as a minister and a senator, I managed to continue doing what I would normally do. People have not, in fact, the afternoon after the announcement of my resignation, I still have made a 20-kilometer around Port of Spain, and I've been keeping that up. And nothing has changed except the fact that I do not have the ministerial responsibilities in terms of oversight and in terms of timetabling, and I do not have the senatorial responsibilities. But there's a transition that a big part took place yesterday with the formal handover to my colleagues who succeed me, and I will continue to support the transition and what lies ahead in terms of my professional work and family life, which of course covers 8,000 kilometers. I have the pretty unique circumstances where I've been here at work on foreign assignment, in a sense, and my wife and 3 children are in Canada, where the 3 children are at different stages in their schooling. My wife is deeply embedded in her professional work, and we've had to manage that, not for the first time in our lives or careers, but of course, COVID inserted a 19-month separation because of the border closure. So August 2021, I was waiting at the gate to get out and reconnect, and it is a major part of my request to the Honorable Prime Minister that he consider changing the way in which I work for the country.
Now, let's just go back a bit, Minister. I mean, when you announced your resignation last week, Wednesday, it came as a surprise to many, right? We actually saw the Facebook post. Everybody was like, what is happening? Why now? Why did you take this time now to make that announcement?
Well, I didn't make the announcement. The Honorable Prime Minister made the announcement. It is not something, anybody knows me, knows that my number one stock in trade is confidentiality. My entire career has been in work, professional work that requires a high level of confidentiality. So there's absolutely no way that that could have gotten out. It was something that throughout when I took my oath of office, I was thinking about my exit. I've been around a long time. I've followed politics around the world. I've been a student of politics. I know that politicians come in and refuse to go. Most times you die in office or you voted out. You may resign, but behind the resignation is a huge push or a foot in the backside. And I've always said that I would like to leave on my terms. When I was at Institute of Business doing my MBA, Professor Johnson taught this thing called waves. And he made the point that if you want to really do well, you are on the momentum, you're on an upward trajectory. My pronunciation is not as good as the previous host, and it's best to get off while your momentum is up.
Right.
Because if you crest and you start going down, you start making decisions out of desperation, really. I have always felt, and if you watch my career path, you'd see that I've always walked at a time which was pretty much known to me beforehand. And I felt that once the ministry was stable, once we had developed that relationship with the farmers, once the land tenure, which I made my number one issue, once that was in a good place, that I would use the opportunity to offer myself in a different way, not only to Trinidad and Tobago, and return to some aspects of my professional life that I really, truly enjoy. And perhaps the two things that I enjoy as a professional is the work I've done as a lecturer, with young people in particular. I have a long history at UE and in Canada and around the world, and writing, which I really miss. Sometimes in my head I want to write articles about myself and say, Rambharat, what are you really doing there? So I want to do some of the things that I enjoy, but most importantly, I want to serve this country in a way that is a bit different than I've done for the last 6.5 years.
Now, Minister, as you mentioned, serving the country, I know that you were saying that you want to stay here a little bit longer just to officially hand over the portfolio to Minister Hussain. How was that handing over? Was it on Monday or Tuesday? How was it handing over?
I think that that handing over is from the time Minister Hussain came in, because in the way in which the acting arrangements are handled, he has acted for me on a few occasions. But we, because of the structure of our cabinet and because of the nature of the ministries, our ministries have collaborated a lot extensively because of the rural development aspect of it. And because on the local government, I chaired the Joint Select Committee that dealt with local government reform. And the report is being debated in the House today. It's going to be very interesting and very landmark, historic, and important work. So that we have had that relationship. We have a long family ties. We're from the same community in Southeast Trinidad. Our families are close. We have had some successful intermarrying in the family. So we know each other. And the transition would do well simply because I know we are both connected to making it
work.
A success. Yeah.
Now, Minister, I know you said that you're going to be here for a while. You're not going to go to Canada right now. But when you do go to Canada, are you looking to apply for citizenship there? Are you going to be a dual citizenship holder?
I'm quite surprised at how this Canada thing has come up. In fact, one or two journalists in February, I think, approached me on the issue of migrating, and I've said to people, I moved to Canada quite a while now. I lived in Canada with my family. I've worked in Canada, and I moved to Canada simply because when I was much younger, I had connections with Canada, and it was a place that I, would have liked to visit and spend time. And when at university, my area of focus was corporate law, and it is Canadian-based. Our family law is also Canadian-based. I've practiced in those areas, our industrial relations, health and safety, those things. All my areas of professional practice have been mainly rooted in Canadian law. When I graduated in 1995 and I developed a specialty in corporate governance, it was a Canadian designation that I earned. And it was not strange to me, but I also wanted, both my wife and I wanted to work professionally in Canada. I wanted to be admitted to the bar. It is very difficult for foreign-trained lawyers to practice in Canada. In fact, of the 4,000 or more who apply on an annual basis to practice in Canada, only 3% are successful. The average person takes between 7 and 14 years to convert. In my case, I had a lot of support from the Law Society that I applied to, and in 18 months I was back into practice. And I also had a desire to work in a large financial multinational. I was hired by HSBC in Canada, and part of my career has been in there. So my move to Canada was not a run from Trinidad. I had a stint as a young man in the sugar industry. I had a significant role in the restructuring of the sugar industry. I chaired the Employers Consultative Association. I was heavily involved in a lot of work with employers and trade unionists across the region.
So then, Minister, you have been successful in Canada. So,
yeah.
Okay, well, then two questions.
Yeah,
when are you leaving?
To answer your question,
are you applying for citizenship?
So I'm not migrating.
Right, okay.
I've done that before.
Right.
I have ties in Canada through my family. My family lives there. My children live there. That is their life. My beautiful wife is there, and only because our third child needs that support because of her age. So I am not, it's not a question of migrating. Citizenship, no. The main reason I'm not taking citizenship anywhere is because I want to be able to run in the election in Trinidad and Tobago. I've run twice already. I'm going again.
Also, Minister, is this
I'm sure I'm going again. Huh?
That next 3 years or whenever we have general elections, we're going to see you putting your hat in the ring?
It depends on if my wife allows me to. So if my Prime Minister is very confident that we'll get to 2025,
right?
And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in the mix again.
Okay, great.
I am not. People have asked me about returning to politics. I'm not leaving politics. I was at a PNM meeting last night in the front row, fully supportive of my Prime Minister. My heart is in the Caribbean region, and I will continue. All that I've asked the Honorable Prime Minister is that I be allowed to, given the opportunity if possible, to work in a more focused work, particularly on this issue of land tenure, land administration reform. It's been a huge part of my career. I would like it to be a legacy that Honorable Prime Minister leaves for Trinidad and Tobago, and I would like to focus on that and focus on some other things, and also be allowed to work remotely. I mean, the requirements of public service in Trinidad and Tobago, of course, is that as a minister, you're physically here. Our vacation leave includes, so if you want to be off on a Sunday, you have to take vacation leave. We have, I think it's 30 days a year.
Okay.
So I would like to be a little more flexible. Right. And I work long hours. The country would not lose anything in terms of time. I work long hours every day.
Now, Minister, I want to get in 2 quick questions because we're running out of time. You're saying that you see yourself maybe, right, also moving with the PNM in terms of contesting a seat. I mean, you have not been so successful in the past 2 times that you ran. Anything you think you might do differently ahead of the elections?
Well, I've been given 2 big challenges. In 2015, I ran in a seat where the difference between the PNM and UNC was 5,500. I think it went under 3,000 in 2015, and I ran in a seat in Chaguanas. I was in the belly of the UNC beast. I was surrounded by safe UNC seats all around, and I narrowed Chaguanas East. Not me, the people of Chaguanas East, the great PNM activists, the young people of Enterprise in particular. They brought me within 1,000 votes of winning the seat. So I've been getting there, and in the next time around, hopefully I edge ahead. I'm always available for that. I enjoy serving in the Parliament.
Right.
I've served in the Senate. If I get the opportunity to serve in the lower house sometimes in the future. And 2025 would mean a different dynamic in our family. A big consideration for my wife and I is the fact that our daughter is going to move to university in 18 months.
Right.
It's a very important period. We would like to be more supportive of her as she gets there. And in 2025, I'm doing the maths quickly. She'll be 20, and maybe a little more independent.
Right.
And my wife would be a little older and maybe less insistent on spending all our great mornings and evenings and nights with me. I don't mind the nights. I love the nights.
Minister, now final question. Just reflect a bit about your work in the ministry and just give us at least 2 major achievements that you would say that you achieved while you were there.
Well, major achievements. One, perhaps the most important achievement. I was on the job. There's no question in the country who was the minister. I was on the job. I was all over. I was with the people, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, this is a beautiful country. I had the opportunity to work for some of the greatest people in this country. I love the farmers. I love what I was able to do. And I think the number 1 achievement is that there was a strong connectivity that my successor will enjoy. Secondly, of course, is land tenure. I mean, we've made some significant moves in the sense that we've sent the signal that corruption and fraud is not going to be tolerated. There are consequences of it. That is one. Don't play the fool when I'm wrong. You understand that. And in terms of the joy that people get, last week in my final cabinet meeting, I had a note there where the person died in 1958 and nothing happened on the file. We can't run a country like that. You can't have somebody sitting down home 60-something years after the affairs in disarray, the file falling apart in my hand because it's brittle paper. So so land tenure and going forward, if I listened carefully to the Prime Minister on the platform last night, going forward, I figure that some of my work will involve what needs to be done in land tenure, particularly as we get into the technology side. I was just talking to Aikov TT when I was sitting there, surprisingly fixing a meeting for Friday morning with the proposed IT consultant, and I think this is where it could get successful or unsuccessful as we move into the actual implementation of the IT solution to solve our land administration problem.
Now, Minister, we're going to have to put a pin in it because we are out of time. But as usual, thank you so much for joining us here on Now. I'm sure the citizens, of course, learned something about you. You're on the Now Morning Show, guys. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. And on that farm we have enough musician. Just jump around with the